boasting, brimming and boasting, items you picked off the dead.
Welcome back to another episode of the Drum Candy Podcast. This is your host, Mike Dawson, the Chief Creative Officer for Drum Factory Direct. This week, we have a returning guest all the way back from Season 1, Episode 3, and that is Ben Hilzinger. Ben is the drummer in the modern rock band Eve6. He's also the touring drummer for the electronic pop group Cannons, and he recently was on the road with the band The Palms. In addition to his career as a drummer, Ben is the client/artist relations director at Big Fat Snare Drum, and he is the co-producer host of Drummers on Drumming podcast. And just recently, Ben compiled a lot of those interviews from his podcast into a new book, which you can get on Amazon, and it's called Drummers on Drumming. So we're going to talk to Ben about everything from Eve6 and Cannons and what's in store and putting together a book. So it's a fun hang. Ben's a good friend. Hope you enjoy. Ben Hilzinger.
I'm so nervous, man.
Why?
I don't know. Because I have no idea what's going to happen. Usually I'm the one with all the notes outside of the screen and I'm all prepped and all that jazz. So now I'm just, wee.
Well, welcome back to the freaking show, Ben.
I know, man. Thank you. I was like your third guest or something?
Third
way back
guest.
in the day?
4 years ago. I was thinking about that this morning. Kids have graduated high school, have gone to high school and graduated. They've gone to college and gotten degrees in the amount of time between your first time on the show and today.
Now 4-year-olds can order a drink at a bar.
Right.
It's crazy.
But it doesn't feel like it. I think when you're busy, time stands still in some weird paradox. At least for me, it does.
Sure.
You know, like my niece just graduated high school. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I just taught her how to hold drumsticks when she was 12. What's happening here?
Oh, yeah. When my youngest sister graduated high school, that was a big moment for me. Oh, we're all adults now. This is good.
Right. So we had to play a little bit of catch up.
Yes.
As I recall, 4 years ago, Eve6 was still your primary gig, and then Cannons was kind of just starting to happen.
Yes.
So are we is it your workload reversed now?
Well, Cannons is in writing mode. So we, like so many other bands during the pandemic, did multiple tour cycles in a row because we had to make up for it. So if people don't know, Cannons I played with them before the pandemic, but they had this song that blew up literally the second week of the pandemic when I think Netflix, it's the highest ratings of any, everyone was on Netflix because we couldn't do anything. And there was this episode from this show called Never Have I Ever where their main song that got big, Fire for You, was a music video for the song. It was the entire song at this pivotal scene at the end of this series, I think. And so they got millions of Shazams that night, and then they were just courted by all these record labels after that. And so when the world started opening back up again, Cannons was just, I was gone for 10 months out of the year the last 3 years. It was insane. Speaking of doing the podcast on the road, most of the podcast is from the road, from hotel rooms or backstages. But yeah, so Cannons is now in writing mode, and we have a few shows in August, but I think we're going to start picking up next year, the beginning of next year. But yeah, Eve6 has been really busy. We just played some shows with American Hi-Fi and to see Stacey Jones and Neil Daniels play live. That was really fun. But yeah, it's kind of, I've been home a lot more, which is great because now I can do all the things I haven't been able to do, which the main thing is feel like a human. So
yeah, right. Have a home, right?
Exactly. As now with my wide camera, you can see my home.
So I believe when you came to Pittsburgh 4 years ago, you were at the Thunderbird Cafe, which, if anyone outside of Pittsburgh doesn't know, it's a cool venue. It's probably my favorite venue in town, but it's small, a couple hundred people in there, and it feels jammed. And then last time you came through, did you play the Roxy or Stage AE?
Neither of those sound familiar, but
Smalls?
I'm trying.
Mr. Smalls?
Oh, Jesus, I should know.
It was definitely a bigger room quickly.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Because I'm not a member of Canon, so everyone knows the drums, which we'll get into on the records, are all contact. MIDI drums. They're very huge, 80 sounding drums. And so it's been fun to be part of the project, but also kind of be proud of them from afar and rise with them. I mean, when I was playing with them before the pandemic, it was in 2019, and I met them because they were actually opening up for us for a band that I was on tour with. That's how I got to know them. And before the pandemic, it was like I think November of 2019, we played this place called the Hi Hat that's now called the Goldfish in LA in Highland Park, and it was maybe just 200 people. And then the next show we played was main stage Lollapalooza, and but even after that, we did our first headline tour, and I believe that was that tour you're talking about, which was, yeah, it was still kind of like, does this translate to ticket sales? We don't know. I mean, because you see so many TikTok people, and it's not like it said cannons on the show when people were watching it, so people had to like seek it out. But luckily, people it did translate to a career that was blossoming, and every tour has gotten bigger and bigger. And who knows what's going to happen because we've taken the last year off, but I have a feeling we're going to come back and it's just going to continue to grow. But it's been really fun. I feel like I was in the movie That Thing You Do, you know.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you're kind of like the ringer in the band, right? I mean, you were the guys had the most touring experience, and you played the bigger rooms, so like getting to watch your band kind of experience this stuff for the first time had to be cool.
so cool. And yeah, it's been fun watching them grow as people and musicians and their confidence as just touring people and also just in the business. And it's been fun to see them change in a good way. Meaning like, becoming the artists they were meant to. Because yeah, I mean, when we first on that first tour, the one that I was saying where they opened up for us, we kind of did this rehearsal beforehand, both bands, and they were asking like, I mean, so how much underwear should I, like there was like, I'm not sure if there was that specific question, but it was like the really mundane things about tour. And now, they're in buses figuring out which oatmeal is good for the bus stock, so they've come full circle.
So in this time period, I can't remember what was Eve6 doing, because you were out almost constantly with Cannons. What
Yeah.
was Eve6 doing during this time?
So Eve6 has always been kind of at the most 20, 25 shows a year band. We did do a big tour right after the pandemic, but for the most part, it's just a lot of fly dates. And so 3 or 4 shows a month at the most. And luckily at the time, which also is a reason probably why I got the full-time Cannons gig, is the guitarist for Eve6, John Siebels, one of my closest friends, ran a management company and he was the manager of Cannons. And so that's why they were on the tour that I was on beforehand with this other band. And then it just, when they needed a full drummer, because Paul, the producer of Cannons, is also well, he's an amazing drummer, but he's also a bass player. He's the producer. He makes the songs sound like Cannons. He's the guy that kind of puts that little Cannon border around everything. And so he wanted to switch to be more of a bassist and synth guy live. So that's why I was brought in. But yeah, I mean, Eve6. So my point in saying that is that Eve6 was really good about the manager getting Eve6 shows around Cannons, because he knew that the more I played with both bands, I mean, I don't want to sound egotistical, but he wanted me to be available for both bands, kind of like what you were talking about before with Cannons. I've been a veteran of bigger shows, and so he kind of wanted me to be the kind of the glue to hold everything together. And now they definitely don't need me, but they still choose to have me, so that's nice. But yeah, Eve6 has always just been working it around Canon stuff, and luckily I now have this drummer whose name's Trevor, and he owns some donut shops in LA. He's a father. He doesn't want to ever tour, so I'm never worried about him taking my gig. But if there's ever a Cannons gig that I need to do, because if we might get into it, but Cannons gig is a little more technical with the gear stuff, and so I can't just go, oh, here, learn the songs. You kind of need to know the ins and outs of that gear, and so he's able to cover Eve6 when I can't make it. But both bands, I mean, I'm so grateful that they kind of worked themselves out around each other. And there's been a few times this year where I just got back from this tour with a band called The Palms, and it was insane how it worked out. There was like a fly date in between these like 2 travel days with the band. It was like Tetris, but I haven't had too many crazy, overlapping things so far, which again, thank you,
Yeah,
world.
I don't want to jinx you. I won't even go any further into that
Yeah,
one.
thanks, dude. Jeez. I haven't said this out loud. Now I'm screwed.
What about physically? I know we talked about this a little bit when
Mhm.
you were preparing for that Eve6 tour. It might have been, I don't know if it was on a podcast or just in a conversation, but um, it's a very physically different gig.
Mhm.
So, do you have anything you have to do to get yourself back in the mode of I got to play alt rock versus electronic, indie pop, whatever you want to call cannons?
Sure, sure. I mean, I do take really good care of my body, to be serious. I do run all the time. I'm in the gym almost every day when I can. So cardio is really important for me.
Mm.
But to be honest, Cannons is pretty high energy too, because they're pretty chill on the record, but live they really like to push it. And so it's not like Eve6 is any less intense for me. Or sorry, that Cannons is any less intense than Eve6. But I mean, Eve6 is my bread and butter. That's like I grew up playing those songs and that kind of music. So that technique and that stamina I've always had just because I end most practices playing stuff like Eve6. And I think maybe I've just that's my I'm just used to that,
Hmm.
and it is funny that people will watch me and I'm very high energy and it doesn't really affect me as much as I mean there's sometimes if I'm not worried about technique by the third song, usually the third song in an Eve6 set is acrostic. It's a song called Open Road Song, and by the third song to like grip it in acrostic, I'm getting all the cramps in there. But yeah, I just a lot of Red Bull and a lot of just fight through it. I'm in pain most of the time, and going talking with Dave Elich, I take lessons with Nate Morton, who is a big advocate of just looseness and just the way he's very efficient with how he does his little snap motions and to get sound out of stuff. And I mean, I'm always taking lessons. I'm always analyzing what I'm doing, looking at photos and stuff to make it as efficient as possible. But it's tough. I mean, I think I've told a lot of people where I black out on stage to where that's the that's why I love playing live so much is I love the fact that my brain listens to me. Like my anxiety just goes, okay, you're on stage. We know you have to pay rent. There's no intrusive thoughts now. So on stage is the one place I can actually not let the bad things happen. And
Mm.
so same with my hands. Like I don't think about how much my hands are cramping live. It's just you have to do it because that's what you have to do for the show. And then when I get off stage, then I ice things. But yeah, hydration and cardio, I guess, is the answer to your question. I could have just
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that.
Let's talk about the dichotomy of adapting to being home more
Hmm.
and when you spent 3 years just running ragged. The daily routine. Are you better suited for I know where I need to be, sound check is at this time, catering is available at this time, or do you like having a day to plan for yourself?
Oh gosh, I'll say it this way: I like when I'm in something. I like thinking about the other thing. I can't wait for the other thing. So when
Ah,
I'm on
interesting.
tour, I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait till I'm home. I can go to the gym. I can go to my favorite little coffee shop. All this stuff, and then the second I'm there, I'm like, God, I wish I had sound check at 1. So I'm never happy, is what I'm trying to say, Mike. Um, no, it's definitely an adjustment, but I also know myself. I have severe ADHD to where I have to be very strict about having a schedule and writing things down before I go to bed about the things I need to work on. And I've also, for the next day. And so while I do think that in my elder years of 38, I do like being physically home more, but I love having a regimented, scheduled out day. So emotionally, I'm better on tour. Physically, I'm better at home. But I've also, as you have, I do so many things outside of drumming. They're all drumming adjacent. So I always feel like I'm in the industry. A lot of people, when they get home, they feel separate from that world. And luckily, I'm doing everything I do involves thinking about drums in some way. So it's just it's a different chair that I'm sitting in when I'm doing my work, but whether I'm at home or on tour, I'm still doing similar things throughout the day. It's just a different setting, you know. But but yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your question, but it is tough. I mean, I definitely get the post tour depression for years after a tour, and then you know,
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're in a unique spot where you have another job to do. Where you're on
mhm.
the road, I assume your hours are open, or you doing your other job versus let me just watch 3 movies for the next 6 hours.
Exactly. I mean, it's if you slow down, that's when the feelings start to happen. I don't like those. And so I surround myself with chaos, aka, endless piles of work, because that's the only way that the osmosis in my brain matches the outside world, but in a positive way. I've definitely uh, um, created a nice little world that caters to that, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm joking about all this. I am for sure satisfied and fulfilled with my career, but it definitely is. It's out of necessity for sure.
When did you work on your book, Drummers on Drumming? Was that all while you were on the road?
Yeah, it took way too long. So I thought about it. Everything I do, I at first think it's ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm not gonna like what the podcast or the book. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do a podcast. I'm not gonna whatever. And then I wake up the next morning. I'm like, maybe that would be cool. So I read all the time. I try and end my nights with at least an hour of reading.
Mm.
And I've always been so fascinated by that world, and especially putting your phone away. I never feel bad about an hour spent in front of a book, and I always feel bad about hours spent on anything that's not work but on my phone, you know. And so it was always a thing that I wanted to help someone else put their phone down more, and so I wanted to create a book, and it's a book that I would read. So it's, but yeah, it was all just done on the road, and it was done in between spurts of playing drums, But again, it kept me busy, so it was I was very grateful. Sorry, there's a freaking hair that keeps tickling my nose.
Yeah,
There we're good.
fix that. At least you have
Yeah,
hair.
jeez, I'm
Mine's just
sorry.
falling out.
God, man.
Don't rub it
But
in.
exactly, yeah. Uh, but
So, I mean, I've edited a number of books, so I kind of know the going in. It's always going to take 10 times as much effort and work as you expect. But how was the experience for you, like actually being the editor of a book or the creator of a book? Was it halfway through you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, or was it inspiring?
all the above, yeah. I definitely, well, I mean, I formatted the book multiple times, because I had no idea what I was doing, and literally, I have the text of what the people had said, like you were part of the book, and one of my favorite chapters, and I had everything there, and then the actual formatting of it, I went through this online software called Atticus.io, and it was very limiting, and because if people don't know the book, I kind of talk about different records, and then the drummers talk about those records. So it's not just like a fiction book where there's a chapter and then just words. It was kind of, I wanted to format it in a certain way. And finally, through all the iterations I ended up on Adobe InDesign and got this woman's course, and Stonebridge, give her a shout out, Stonebridge Books, I want to say. Anyways, and she had this template on Adobe InDesign, and it just, I mean, this is after me formatting the entire 400-page book on something else, and then I realized, okay, an extra maybe month's worth of work will make me a lot more proud of it, that as opposed to the other way I was doing it. And so I just did Adobe InDesign, and yeah, the formatting of it. I mean, I think I've read my book probably 20 times.
Yeah.
That's going in and making sure that names are spelled correctly, that every time you mention a song that it's in parentheses and then all the titles are italicized. It's that stuff is, but again, going back to work, I feel a sense of fulfillment when I'm doing something. I know myself that if I'm making actual, not just busy work, but actual progress, I can, and again, this is the ADHD, I can be in front of my computer for 12 hours straight and not be stressed or having a bad time. I enjoy it because I know I'm chipping away at things. And then, but yeah, it's most of the stress of the book was the formatting, and the editing for sure. But yeah, it was very stressful, but also extremely fun. And I'm already halfway through my next book. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow.
This one's going to be volume 2, and I'm not going to say it's better, but it's got some heavy hitters in there as well. So I'm really excited. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach to the overall thing, but it is still going to be a similar format. But yeah,
Man, to just learn InDesign for your own project that's not easy. I mean, that's what we used to make Modern Drummer for years. So, but now you have that skill and you can translate that into other projects, right? I'm sure.
I mean that's my life. Like
Yeah.
I learned Ableton through out of necessity. I learned Pro Tools because of the podcast. I learned everything. It's just you can go to college for free on YouTube, and now I'm not saying I'm at consulting level, but a lot of these little things I've done, I can help other people figure it out, and it's just I want to get something done, so I figure it out and then I do it, and then yeah, I guess that's how I've always done things.
Anyone needs any books designed, I'll hit up Ben.
Yeah, please, Candace is not that busy, so I am looking for work.
I mean, that's a good skill to have for real. I mean, I don't know that program at all. I mean, we had to use it, but I'm like, I don't know how anyone could really master this sucker.
Well, here's the thing, like same with Pro Tools and Ableton and Adobe InDesign. I know my particular lane. I know how to format the different paragraphs and different pages in a certain way, but if you were to ask me like here's a blank thing, now make a whatever, I'm sorry, I'm not your man. But if you want to replicate my exact book with a 8.5 by 5.5, I'm your fucking golden boy.
Got it.
But you also did one too. You just released one.
I did, but I did the whole thing. This is how outdated I am. I did the whole thing in Finale, which now doesn't exist. The whole
Oh
book is
wow.
in Finale. I'm an expert in an obsolete music notation program.
You
So
know what, man? We're all obsolete, dude.
I've hit that stage in life. Like you're still using Finale until this computer dies and the program dies with it. I'm in Finale.
But you also did you do KDP?
Yes.
Amazon. That's what I did too.
Okay. I mean, I hate giving them credit, but it was so easy.
I
So
know.
easy.
Well, and I didn't realize too. I mean, I when I start things, I just start them and then I figure it out in the way. And I knew that the whole getting a publisher and getting the actual book in print and how that was going to happen was something that I knew I would have to deal with, and I didn't think about it enough. And I had friends who published books, and they were talking to me about. I mean, you probably know this, but I mean, publishers take sometimes 90+%
Yeah,
of
you're lucky
of
to
your
get $1,000 out of a run of 1,000 copies. Yeah.
exactly. And there's all the different publishers and stuff. And I'm for the most part nobody. Hal Leonard's not going to be like, hey, let's publish a book. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And then yeah, Amazon KDP, which I don't even know what it stands for, Kindle on demand print, I think maybe. But essentially, when people, if you don't, the book doesn't exist until you order it, and then they print it on demand. And the cool thing about that is that there's been multiple times. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's probably 7 editions of the book that I've had to upload
Mm.
re-upload the manuscript because Joe Bagale, Otis McDonald, one of the coolest drummers, I spelled his name wrong, and then certain drummers, I don't know if you want to edit this out, but certain drummers have been involved in certain extracurricular activities that I don't want them involved in the book anymore, and so I had to
Mm.
take out certain drummers. And but it's so easy to just re-upload it and edit, if I have a spelling like Joe's or It's cool, So it's if some people if you bought the book right away, you have a very exclusive copy.
The first edition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I even priced out like some local printing companies. Like maybe I should just do it all local. I would have been in the hole a couple $1,000s for a book I know I would never recoup it on.
Hmm.
It was just for me. Like I hate giving props to them, but I had a drummer bought a copy in Germany, and it printed
Exactly.
and arrived in his doorstep in a couple days. Like I couldn't have done that.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
enough about Amazon. Let's get away from that.
Anyways, yeah, Amazon, go to Amazon.com. No.
You haven't heard about it. You go to Amazon.com, search
Weirdly,
for
they sell books now. They've switched it up.
Oh man. Okay, we have to go into gear mode. We've got about a half hour left here, so that's what
Perfect.
everyone wants to hear about.
Yes, and I'm nervous about this.
Let's start with the Eve6 kit. Is anything changed since 4 years ago?
Well, now I play Rogers, and so unfortunately, I had some great acrylite Vistalite kits. I had a Tequila Sunrise, loved Ludwig. I had a classic maple in the Tangerine mod, but now I'm a Rogers guy, proudly. And so with Eve6, whenever I can, because unfortunately Rogers being a newer to comeback company, a lot of the modern drums aren't available in backline. So if you see me play a lot, it's usually not Rogers, unless I'm doing Southern California shows or starting in California and going on tour. But it's essentially a Bonham setup, with a China. So usually a 13-inch rack, 16-inch floor, 22-inch kick, superphonic, hopefully a Black Beauty, but any sort of superphonic, and then Zildjian cymbals, proud Zildjian guy, Evans drum heads when I can. But yeah, pretty much similar. And oh my gosh, if it's a great day, they give me a splash, and it's an even greater day, I have another stand for the splash. My bandmates hate the splash, but I play in a late 90s rock band. What are you talking about not having a splash?
Yeah, splash MIDI China. You gotta have that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, and boy, do I use that China. But yeah, no, Eve6 is the same. It's just rock, and that's real drum heads, which you will find out in a second is a novelty these days for me. So, yeah, Eve6.
So I don't think I've asked anyone really about backline. Like you think a band like Eve6, you're going to get exactly what you want every time you show up on your rider. But how often is it a miss where you're like, this isn't even close to what I need?
Well, we definitely have our non-negotiables. Like the snare has to be Ludwig Superphonic. And sometimes it's not, but on our rider, there's a hierarchy of like, this is a very important, and it has to be Zildjian cymbals, but it's really fun. I say Rogers, and if not DW, Yamaha, Ludwig. I mean, any drum set will sound good. I would just prefer a Rogers, but it's the cymbals that are the most. I give them the most leeway, but also I enjoy the fact that I've been able to play so many cymbals that I just get to basically try out cymbals because I've played almost every version of Zildjian just because that's what the backline has. As long as I have a pingy somewhat ride and then two crash rides, whatever, I can make it work. I'm not really particular, but it's been really fun to be able to play. Like the misses there's definitely misses. Let's see, the Zildjian rock crash. No, thank you.
That's tinnitus maker right there.
Yes. It's just, I love everything else Zildjian does, but just, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've definitely had some misses, but it's always fun. I'm not a gearhead, and if my show is not good because the cymbal is in the right frequency, then I think I'm focusing on the wrong things. So
Are
that's
you guys all on in-ears at this point?
No, it's so nice. Wedges, no click track. 3 dudes walk on stage, count off with a hi-hat.
You're freaking vintage. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think they overcorrected because the last drummer, Tony, who is amazing, he had this app called Show One, and everything was on in-ears. And the second record, Horoscope by Eve6, there is it's a Don Gilmore production. He did like all the early Linkin Park stuff. He did a lot of cool things. He likes a lot of bleeps and bloops in the music, and so they had to use a lot of that live. But now we just super punk rock about it, and it's really fun. Some days, I definitely realize how fast I am.
You don't even have like a reference click to get started. It's just
no,
go.
That's
should. Amazing. I love it.
The only song that I really care about is this song called Anytime. It's from this movie called Out Cold. It's become this cult favorite because you can't actually buy it anywhere. It was an original song released for the soundtrack of that movie, but RCA never released that soundtrack. You can't even find it on Spotify. You can only find it on this one YouTube video. And anyway, so Anytime's this classic song for Eve6 that we always play, but the bridge is all downstrokes for the guitarist, and that's the one song I'm like, I got to make sure by the time we get to the bridge, I am at this little sweet spot. And then he always comes up and we laugh because it's even at the perfect tempo, it's just at his little threshold. And he's an amazing guitarist, so it's a fast song, but that's the only one that I actually care about. Other than that, they don't really care, as long as it feels good. And it's sometimes at that they don't even care.
What is your reference before you count it off? You sing like the chorus, or is it just reflex at this point?
I guess it depends on the song, but there's a few songs that it's mostly the verse beat for sure. Yeah, I guess I mean, every song's different, but with "Here's to the Night," it's definitely the chorus. There's a song called "Think Twice," and there's this little thing that I do in the verse that I know there's a certain tempo I can't do that if I started at. So I have these little, I guess I don't even think about it. Like, again, going to me just blacking out on stage, not drinking, just in the moment, musically blacking out. But yeah, I should do more references. I just wing it.
Hey, if it works, man. Don't change it.
Well, it might not work, but it's I'm not fired yet.
Have you ever played a festival with Marky Ramone?
No, I have not. No, you'd think Eve6 would have.
Yeah, I would think so. And just the way, I mean, his count-offs are never the tempo they actually play. It's fascinating how they operate. And always so fast that he can't actually play the eighth note. So it's like some weird like 7 instead of 8s on the hi-hat or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, check out some clips of him. I mean, he still can play, but he's just got a way of like making it work where it sort of sounds like he's subdividing, but it's just kind of his hands just playing stuff.
See, that's the stuff you can't teach. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think the Ramones records got so much better when he started playing, and we were just talking about doing a Ramones song, like a deep cut. Because if anyone has any suggestions, Eve6 has been trying to think of a cool cover or a fun cover. I think we were talking about maybe The Cult. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. Not that it's a big deal. It's a big secret. Rolling Stone is. Band. Oh, absolutely.
Mickey Curry on those records, killing.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know any of the members. I just know the guys in Eve6 have great taste in music, and they got me into the Social Distortion self-titled record. I think it was their second full length, and oh my god, the drums on that are so cool. Third, yeah. So clear. That ride is just so pingy, and it's just so amazing.
I saw them last fall with Bad Religion.
Oh, what a great lineup! My God,
they were so good. Social D was so good.
Was it that Chuck Biscuits was on a bunch of their records? But there was another guy.
No, he was on that live record, Live at the Roxy, which is one of the best live punk records I think ever. That's Chuck.
Chuck. Thing. Yeah. Something Reeves, I think, was maybe the drummer. Not Christopher Reeves. Something Roger Reeves or something on this.
I'm the biggest fan. I don't know any of their names except Mike Ness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I know Adam Willard played with them for a year. That was awesome. He's a great drummer. Yeah. But yeah, that's Eve6. Pretty standard. I kind of use Eve6 as, I mean, we're in such a good place with this band that as friends, and now we're recording. We have we don't release songs on Spotify when we write them. We do them only on Patreon, and so we've been writing a lot, like a few times a month, and it's just we're in such a good spot with that band that I include the gear in this. It's just no stress. Just I love showing up, being like, what kind of drum set? For the most part, all the drums, the hardware's good. That's all I care about. If I get a good snare, Zildjian cymbals, and the hardware's not falling apart, I really don't care.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I fly with nothing besides sticks. I definitely, I guess to go back to your question, I've gotten some misses with kick drums where it just doesn't feel good, like bass drum pedals. But for the most part, I just don't let myself stress about Eve6. It's such a fun gig.
What do you do with your monitor mix since you're using wedges? You keep it simple, guitar and vocals, or what do you do?
Yep. If there's not a sub, I definitely make sure it's the kick out mic because that gives the. I don't like the clickiness of the inside. It's the kick out mic, guitars, and vocals. And to be honest, I probably could just do with guitar because with Eve6, that's what I really latch on to. But there's one section of a song where we kind of do this extended bridge, wash the cymbals, where Max just kind of talks, and then he counts us back into the rest of the song that I need to hear that 1, 2, 3. Other than that, I probably won't even have his vocals, which is probably bad because I should be playing more of the vocals, but it's mostly the guitar because it's a very guitar driven band.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as long as I can hear Sweet Pea, which is John, the guitarist, I'm good. And there was actually, we just played Palmdale, like a brewery festival last week, and the monitor, typical story, the monitor mix is completely different from sound check when you go on stage, and all I had was guitar blaring, couldn't hear anything else, and I even have like 30 dB earplugs in, and it was still hurting me. So I had my tech guy come out, and he just turned off the whole thing because I was trying to adjust it, and it was just making it worse. And so the whole show, I was only hearing the front fills, and so it was delayed from me, and I just had to I'm just going to play for me. You guys, and I communicated with him like, you guys got to follow me because I'm just going to, accent the hi-hats in the spots that I'm not playing more than usual, but I'm not going to follow you guys. I'm the leader because I can't hear anything. And it was so weird because it was like, I felt like I was behind them the whole show.
Yeah, that's scary.
Chaos.
Why was there another band in between you that messed up your mix? I mean, what would have?
Must have. Yeah, it was like a festival. So we did sound check first at 3, and then we didn't play till 9. And so someone didn't save their scene or something. And afterwards, he showed up. He's like, "Hey, I this is like my second time ever doing monitors." Like, that's
Lord.
nice to know.
Yeah, great.
But again, it is nice that it's not like, I mean, if that happened with Cannons, luckily Cannons has their own crew, but Eve6 is a band where if everything goes to shit, as long as you can hear the drums, the show will be fine. Because Max, I mean, they're all veterans, but yeah, it's, but again, we walk off stage and we laugh about it. It's just got to take it with stride. So in stride.
Well, let's go to the other opposite side of the spectrum with your Cannons kit. Give me the rundown of what you're using. It's different from what you started with them, correct?
Very much so.
The original set was very minimalist, wasn't it?
Very minimalist. And I can thank, I don't know if I'd say thank, but I can give credit to Butch Vig for my current setup, almost. So when I first started, it was, again, going back to that Lollapalooza show, and we didn't really know what we were going to do, but we knew that the drums and cannons are so essential to the vibe of the music. They're massive. The cool thing that I like is that the drums are so loud in the mix. Maybe that's because Paul, the producer, is a drummer, but they're very present. And so initially they were like, all right, well, let's just have the track drums, just the kick and snare in the front of the house, like from the record in the front of the house. And then Ben will play underneath that and he'll whatever. And so that was how we did the first tour, I actually believe. The first tour we did was not the headline tour that you would have almost seen. It was a tour with a band called Lovely the Band. And we were going to be first of 3, but then the other headliner dropped out, so we became the direct support. And on that tour, it was that same thing. The tracks were in the front of house. I just kind of did accents on top of it. And then we decided for the next tour to add the RT triggers on all my drums and really, so I could do it in real time. And then at the end of that tour, our front of house was like, dude, to be honest, I'm pushing most of just the triggers because he needed to get that sound. And if people don't know cannons, you can. I pride myself in being able to make drums sound like I want to, but you really can't make a drum sound like, 7 samples layered on top of each other. That's for the record live. And so, yeah, he was pushing the triggers a lot. And then we were playing with, well, it's the K Rock Almost Acoustic Christmas, and Garbage was playing with a bunch of other bands. But after Garbage, so we were playing the Forum in LA, which is their big like Christmas show. And after Garbage, which if people don't know, Butch Vig plays drums for, and Shirley is a very soft singer. And so when they got off stage, there it was like a Spinal Tap moment. They were locked out of their dressing room, which was right next to us, and we had just played, so we were kind of hanging out, having some beers, and Ryan, the guitarist, opens the door, and it's Butch Vig. He's like, "Hey guys, we're locked out of our dressing room. Can we hang out here and have maybe a beer with you?" And Ryan's like, yes."
Yeah,
Love Smashing Pumpkins, so he just whatever. And we're all talking, and we were talking about the drums because, again, if people don't know, Butch plays with a completely Roland TD-50 drum set live with Garbage. He has played with mesh pads for years with them, and he brought it up. Yeah, Shirley is such a small singer. Ben, you should play with electronic drums. And I was like, Butch, shut up. And I love him. And of course, I was like, yeah, that'd be something maybe we can look into. And then the next, I mean, I'm fast forwarding a lot, but the next kind of sessions of us kind of going back on the road and doing a new tour setup, we decided that Michelle, the lead singer of Cannons, also sings very quietly. And in order to help her, not have to use a bunch of stuff to get rid of all the other crap I was doing on stage, just to play mesh pads and use, well, when I say mesh pads, I'm not nothing against the Roland or the Remo, but I'm not talking about just the mesh pads that were really bouncy. These are the Evans DB1s, which have a little impact piece in the center. Almost think of like a controlled sound, but it's a lot thicker, and they also have a ring underneath of felt. So it really doesn't jump up at you like a trampoline or like the Silent Strokes. It really does. If your eyes are closed, and in my case with the RT triggers that are triggering the actual sounds of the records in real time, it actually does kind of feel like a drum, especially with the kick drum, because I still have a pillow in it and the kick drum, snare, everything is all mesh pads now with Cannons. I play a real drum set, a real Rogers drum set, and I'm scared to say this because Rogers was like, "What? You're not even using our sound?" The hardware is great. I love Rogers. Every other thing I play, Eve6, Palms, everything, Nicky Orr, is all with Rogers with real heads. But with Cannons right now, it is with mesh heads. And yeah, just use a TM6 and I trigger the sounds from the records. And my next step is to get all the sounds in Ableton and then kind of pull from Andrew Marshall, which what he does is he plays the pads and he can automate it to where the snare can change throughout the song. So in real time, without having to go to another pad, the snare sample will just either change for the chorus or it'll add something else in the chorus. So he can actually not worry about anything else other than just playing drums, and the song sounds kind of change around him. But yeah, that's my setup with Cannons right now. Evans DB1 mesh pads, RT triggers on everything. I have a bunch of PD8s all around. And then weirdly enough, I still use real cymbals, which you would think would be the culprit to get in a microphone. But I'm not going to remind them of that. Until they, at least for a saving grace, I'm not playing fake cymbals, so that is nice. That would be the one, because I'm not sure if you have this same sentiment, but it's the hi-hat. I need to have a real hi-hat, because that's where most personalities of drummers come out. That's where my personality comes out. That's where with Cannons the kick and the snare are pretty. It's pop music, it's radio music. It's a little more. No, I don't want to say straightforward, but it's just really approachable. I don't get stressed about the bass drum patterns, and they give me a lot of leeway with the hi-hat to not, as long as I don't step over Michelle's vocals, I can have fun with the hi-hat. And so that's like my coveted. I'll even take a fake ride and crack just the hi-hat. Please, dear God, let me keep the hi-hat.
Are you using any like plexi or something to block it out, or is it?
No, thank God. I was on that first tour that you would have almost seen us at, but that way it became this joke that our front of house guy who no longer works with us was very adamant that didn't matter how soft I was playing, he would always just make the stab of like, Ben, we need to have the plexi, and so we finally did, and it was such a I hated it. I mean, I'm not even talking like shout out clear sound baffles. I'm talking like a full four like church
Yeah.
screen around me.
Fishbowl. Yeah.
Yeah, to where I just saw reflections of my own self in sequins every show,
Yeah.
which usually would be nice, but not then.
And that band is in ears.
Oh yes, in
So
ears
you're
for
it
sure.
probably does feel like you're playing drums. I mean, those triggers are so good now.
Yes, and that's also why I don't. I mean, I jokingly say any drummer would be like, "Would you rather play real drums or not real drums?" I would rather play real drums, but there is something that I can lose myself that when I play something in real time, it sounds like the record. And the TM6, the way I mean, I switch it up so much, but I think I've dialed it in to the most part where the sensitivity really does feel like a real drum. And it is so inspiring when there's some songs where it just has this
Mm.
crazy reverb tail. I just hit it and it sounds like that. And it's so fun to play a drum that has sustain because everything else besides cymbal is so staccato, and it makes me play a lot less because like Eric Urea, my co-host, amazing drummer co-host of the drum panel, talks about drummers have note envy. All of our notes
Mm.
are so short, and so that's why we overplay. But when you have drums that even the tom doom doom doom, it just makes me play less and it makes me play better, which is probably why I haven't lost a gig yet. So, because listening back to the original like YouTube videos from even just 3 years ago when I was still trying to figure out how to sit in the mix, it was just like, dude, Ben, shut up, man. It's Michelle's band. What are you doing? You know. So now I can just rely on the notes to make me sound good.
Did you program the module yourself, or did you have someone help you out with it? How'd you get it dialed in?
Story of my life. I just figured it out. It's I don't like ever being in a situation where if something's going wrong on stage, I can't figure it out. So
Mm.
I don't like to what do you call it? Off uh what's the word? Um like I don't want to give that job to someone else, and then if something goes wrong, I'm screwed. I'd rather just spend the time, the hours, nights in front of a TM6 going through all the things so that if something goes wrong, I know I got this, guys. Give me two minutes, and whatever. So I just figured out all myself. Yeah, it's
Oh, you just
there. You go. I
disconnected.
got it. Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
No, no,
You're
no. It's
back.
it's yeah. There's this little SM whatever this is, the MV7i. It's this little button right here. If I click it, it goes mute. So it's very
Oh.
nice. Uh, if you don't have happy fingers like me, but yeah. So it's
Did you get the samples from the record, or did you make your own?
a little bit of both. There's definitely some samples that he didn't have the reverb tail. I mean, some of the records some of the songs we play live, I don't even think they have the stems of anymore. So we
Mm.
had to kind of create a little bit of a layering thing, which again, me and Paul really have fun doing that. Stacking stuff and then A-Bing it to the record and sing out because you can listen to it on your laptop, but then live, it's like, oh, it's way too harsh.
Mm.
And so it's always I mean, I don't think we've ever played an entire tour where I start with the samples I start with are all the same samples I end the tour with. So it's
Oh,
always
interesting.
flowing, and we have like 4 or 5 main snares that we switch to between venues.
Mm.
Like we were lucky enough to do like a month with Imagine Dragons last year, and just you need to have different samples for those as opposed to a small club, and so just always figuring that out. It's not just one set it and forget it. Even with Fire for You, we'll switch up the snares if we want more attack or more click or more just presence. So yeah, we make it ourselves. Luckily, he does have some packs that he still has that he was able to give me, but it's a little bit of both.
Are you traveling? I assume that band you have to travel with your own gear. Do you have a backup? I mean,
Yeah,
how do you
so
prepare for the potential issue when it's so tech heavy?
yeah. So I do travel with two TM6s. I
Okay.
travel with a bunch of RT triggers, a bunch of, the kicks and the toms, snare stuff. And I travel with the mesh heads. So that is the one thing that is a little bit cumbersome is, well, it's good and bad because we travel just in a Zildjian cymbal case. I have I have two 22-inch kicks and then like basically an extra mesh head of each size ready to go. So that worst case scenario, if a head breaks, which it never has, even the kick drum, I've had the Evans DB1s last a long time, and maybe it's because that impact piece. I'm never actually touching the mesh. It's always like it's like a good like, I mean, 6 or 7 inch impact piece. So you're really
Mm.
just unless you're a horrible drummer, which I am sometimes. You hit the center, you're good to go for a while, but yeah, I just travel with with the cymbal bag that actually carries all the mesh heads, and then I have like a Pelican that has all my TM6s and mesh pads and stuff in it, and then my cables. But for the most part, when I travel, it's just the heads, and the electronic stuff. All the drum sets are just there because,
Oh, so you're having to like piece your kit together each show.
well, I just have to put on the new heads, which
Yeah.
is good because I don't have to worry about tuning. And because it's all it just as long as the tension is decent and the trigger's picking it up, then I'm good to go. It's not like my snare sounds like shit today. It's like, no, it sounds like it did last night. Maybe you're just, didn't eat enough today. You meaning if someone says something about it. So it is a little frustrating at festivals when I'm the one just taking off every head. And it's like we have a front logo for cannons plus the kick
Mm.
drum. I mean, I have to replace everything. The bottom heads, not that I replace those anyways or even worry about them, but it is nice to not have to tune, which is sad because I work for Big Fat Snare Drum, and you'd think like, no, this we could just get it going with that. But with every other gig, I do still use them, but with I don't. There's no point to use a Big Fat Snare Drum on a mesh head. So
Yeah, right. How much quieter can it get? Uh,
exactly, yeah.
you use the lighter sticks, or you still rock the same stick for both bands?
No, Eve6 is the Vic Firth Rock, and I've thank you to Neil Daniels, even though now he doesn't even use that one, but he turned me onto it. And it's funny, like the bigger rock sticks, you can actually have better ghost notes because the stick does most of the work. So I can actually play with more finesse with. I'm not talking a 2B, but the Vic Firth 5 rock stick it's similar to like an X55B. It's like a little bit longer, thicker than a 5B, but it just has like the taper's good. There's that, but yeah, so that's with Eve6. But with cannons, I use the SD1 General,
Hmm.
which is
Maple stick, right? Yeah.
exactly. So I was turned on to the SD2 Bolero, which is the Brian Blade stick. I'm not sure who I was talking to about that, but when I'm in my practice spot and I'm in kind of like the highly tuned, like the 10-inch rack tom, 14-inch floor, like 20-inch bass drum, really high tuned bop stuff. I really like that Brian Blade kit, but it's a little bit too, or the Brian Blade style sticks. But with cannons, the SD1 General is a little bit thicker, but it is, yeah, like you said, it's maple, which most sticks are hickory. So the maple one is a little bit lighter, even though the SD1 is thicker. So it
Hmm.
still feels like it's a good presence in my hand, but it doesn't. I don't need big sticks for cannons. I just need to create a transient, and
Hmm.
they feel good in my hands. I don't necessarily know the taper as opposed to other sticks. And to be honest, a lot of times I turn those sticks around unless I'm doing finesse stuff on the hi hat. If it's just backbeat, my left hand's always turned around. But yeah, the Vic Firth maple sticks are amazing. Also, the Danny Carey signature stick that has that little groove
Oh yeah.
is
Yeah.
I don't necessarily I don't hold my stick exactly where he does, but it's nice to have a reference of where the groove is in context to where I hold the stick.
Mm.
And I love that stick. It's a little bit shorter than my other ones, but those are my three main boys. The Harvey
Is your
Mason one too, by the way, before I went to the SD2 or the SD1 Bolero, the SD1 Generals, I was doing the Harvey Mason Vic Firth stick, and that one's just lighter. Now it feels really foreign to me whenever I play because I still have a few pairs, but That one's also really good.
He has 2 sticks. Is that the one with the round tip, super round tip?
It's
It's
like
one called a chameleon. I think that's a newer one.
yeah, the one that he has, it's not like a perfectly round tip. It's like the barrel where it's like
Okay.
very circular on the side, but then it does kind of get to like a more of a flat top. I think it's called the barrel tip.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
was thinking of the Omar Hakim stick. That's the one with like a little ball, a little pearl on top of it. Yeah.
well, that's what I'm pretty sure the SD1 Generals have just a circular top,
Right, right.
which is the one thing that me and Neil Daniels were talking about with the rock stick, is that I don't love the tip on that stick, but I love the feel of that stick. But hey, at least it's not nylon. You know what I mean?
Hey, what do you got against nylon?
It's true. Actually, if I was going to play some social distortion, I'd probably use a nylon stick on that ride cymbal. But yeah,
I would imagine your intermix for cannons is way more kind of like record
yes,
style. You're hearing everything balanced.
yes. And with cannons, I have the my mix that yet, like you said, is the record, and then I have a little mixer that is just the click track as well. Because
Mm.
depending on how neurotic I want to be that day or how nervous I am, I will crank that click. And then I also have a third one that comes out of the TM6 that's just my drums. So I have the overall mix, and then best case scenario, the other two, the line 2 and line 3 are all the way down. But if there's ever a time when for some reason there's stuff going on that I really want to hear my drums more, I have that I can crank independently, as well as the click. But yeah, and the cool thing with cannons is we use our the M audio, not M audio, but the Midas M32 thing, so I can change it. I should probably have an iPad back there, but I just have my phone. If I need to, I can independently
Mm.
adjust it. And the cool thing is that show to show, if everything's set up in Monitor World the same way, it sounds the exact same every night. We can just do like a virtual sound check if we want. Usually we like to do a sound check. And if people don't know, virtual sound check just means they play a recording of a previous night over the loudspeakers, and you don't even have to be there. But I like to, be able to feel this. I mean, the whole band does. We usually always do a sound check, but yeah, that's kind of the setup. But it's really fun to play Canon stuff because it sounds like the record.
Yeah, I imagine it's super fun. So you're running those 3 line inputs into like a little Mackie or Behringer board or something. What do you?
Exactly, a little Behringer 4-track,
Yeah.
and with my cute little auxiliary tray with my little electrolyte drink, and it's all there. Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were going to say ashtray. I was like, whoa, all right.
With my heroin, and I have these cute little lines, and my credit card is there. It's just it's like standard stuff.
Rock star stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Man, what have you been listening to? We're going to wrap up here. So, what have you been listening to lately? Where are you finding inspiration these days?
Great question. Well, I've been into a lot of jazz.
Mm.
I've been listening to a lot of Bill Stewart, and I don't know the records, but let's see, jazz, just because of with Big Fat Five, that's the one thing that I never feel like I have enough to say when people bring up jazz records. So I've been really getting into Bill Stewart, Brian Blade, of course, anything he's ever on. Viagra Boys have a brand new record. I'm not sure if people know them, but they are awesome. They're just fuck you in every way with the music industry, but they're also really catchy and really approachable. Their name's not, but they're awesome. Viagra Boys. And let's see what else. Yeah, that Social Distortion record, that self-titled one is awesome. I mean, these are things I'm really listening to right now. I would look at my Spotify, but my webcam is my phone right now, so I can't. But uh, Talking Heads are still my favorite band right now. I love Talking Heads. I will never stop listening to Levon Helm. I can. It's impossible for me to listen to him and not be inspired. I want to go sit behind the kit. But to be honest, most of what I listen to is songs I need to be learning. I just got off this tour with this band called The Palms. I'm playing with this guy called Nicky Yor, and a lot of it is just the new stuff we're working on. And yeah, that's it. But yeah, I mean, if people don't know Chris France or France, whatever, from Talking Heads, go listen to their stuff. Tom Tom Club, all that stuff. It's just so inspiring. And I was just talking to Stacey Jones. He just got to play with Olivia Rodrigo. He's also her MD, but he is the lead singer of American Hi-Fi. He's been the MD for Miley Cyrus, plays drums for Miley Cyrus. He was with Veruca Salt, Letters to Cleo, an amazing The Lemonheads. But he would just got to play Gov Ball with David Byrne and Olivia Rodrigo, and he got to do that intro Tom hit to Bringing Down the House, I want to say, and it was just it was so fun.
Yeah, man, he's kind of an unsung hero of pop music. I think he's done
Absolutely.
a lot of gigs.
He's also just the nicest guy. I love him so much. He's that guy that, and I know this isn't really about us, but I just played Eve6 just played a show with American Hi-Fi, and I got to give Stacy a shout out. He said hi to everyone in the venue, like everyone from the merch person to the person doing like the LD to the sound guy. He came up, I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Stacy. Thanks, nice to meet you, man. Thanks for doing this." It was to see that in action. I can tell it's something he just does innately, and it's such a testament to where he's at, where he is, in the music industry. But such a pleasant person, and I'm going to steal that from him.
You're gonna be busy. a lot of hands to shake.
Exactly. I'll be sick all the time, but yeah. But yeah, if people don't know Bill Stewart, he's an insane drummer. His sounds are incredible. Played on a lot of records, but it's the clarity in his sound as a drummer is, and his ride cymbal especially, is so inspiring.
Man, I just talked about him in Drum Candy, and if anyone has, this is for the universe, because we talked about it on that episode. If anyone happened to capture, during the pandemic, he did a solo drum performance at the Village Vanguard. And it was only available, you had to pay like $10 or something to watch it. It just streamed live and vanished from the universe. And it was the most amazing performance I've ever seen. Solo drums for 50 minutes straight.
Wow.
Anybody would have happened to just grab a copy of that, please share it with Ben and I.
Yes, I will reach out. I'll do something on Big Fat. If anyone has anything, I'll do a little shout out.
Yeah, it was so good. And it was so perfect for the time. Like everyone was locked at home, and Bill Stewart's going to play solo drums. It's only $10. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful. Hopefully they put it out sometime. But I know somebody was smart enough to screen record that thing. Someone had to be.
Yeah.
But it's not on YouTube. I can't find it anywhere.
It was probably all MIDI anyways,
Yeah, I mean, he was miming.
What's the session? Just give us the Ableton session. It's all AI.
We're gonna wrap up with like what's going on with the podcast. I know were you going to rebrand fully or not, or
yeah, no, it's Drummers on Drumming. It's now the Big Fat Five, which was the name of the podcast, is now just a reoccurring segment. And yeah, people go by the book, Drummers on Drumming. Mr. Mike Dawson is one of the featured drummers, and it's just based off the conversations I had with people on the podcast when it was called Big Fat Five, just about the records that shaped them and why it shaped them, and gets you turned on to records you might not know. It definitely did that for me. And it's 400 pages, just about, has over 80 drummers from Mike Dawson, Jason McGurr, Richard Spavin, Mark Juliana, Ash Sohn, Joe Drumeyer. So many incredible drummers that you will be changed by if you read this book. And the podcast is called Drummers on Drumming as well. And we have a really fun segment called the Drum Panel. It's just a roundtable discussion, just talking shop with a little more structure. But I'm always changing that up and figuring out how to make that a more enjoyable listen. Love to have you, Mike, come on the Drum Panel.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, just keep them busy, and go get the book on Amazon.com. Eventually, you'll be able to buy it somewhere else, and I'll make more money if you buy it somewhere else. But I'll figure that out. But yeah, for the time being, Drummers on Drumming, get it up on Amazon and help me pay rent.
And then, as far as catching you live, any tours coming up, or is it a home period for you?
Yeah, so the touring will probably start next year, but I talk about everything on my Instagram at Ben Hilzinger, and yeah, anything that's going on will be up there. I don't have like a day. I should have a database on my website of what I'm doing, but just check it out on Instagram. If I'm doing anything, it'll probably be like pinned to the top of my profile. And yeah, come say hi. I would love to be socially awkward around you.
I'm going to end it right there. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks for tuning in this week. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, give us a review. We haven't had any reviews over on the podcast apps in a while, so if you haven't done that yet and you're enjoying the show, please give us a 5-star rating, type some words into the review section on whatever podcast app you're getting. That goes a long way to getting this show into the ears of more drummers like you. So have a good week, and we will see you next time.
I'm feeling fine. Hey, 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 hey.